Welcome back. This is where it all comes to a conclusion. We will wrap up our series here. What is a simplified form of -5 x to the negative third y to the fourth, all of that squared? Our exponent rules are simple. Anytime we are squaring, obviously we square the coefficient, but then we simply multiply exponents. So what's happening here is -5 squared, x -3, 2, and y 4, 2. So this becomes 25, x to the -6th, and y to the 8th. Well, we know when we have a negative exponent, we can write that as a positive when it's in the diameter or the denominator. So, not diameter. Y to the 8th, x to the 6th. And that gives us our answer. Okay. This next one, we are simplifying square root. So it says in simplest form, what's the square root of 85 equal to? Well, let's think about if we were to factor this out. I know that 5 is a factor. How do I know that 5 is a factor? Well, because it ends in 5. And then what is 845 divided by 5? It's 169. Well, if I've memorized perfect squares or I know anything, what is 169 here? Well, 169 is 13 times 13. All right. So we can really say that this is the square root of 169 times the square root of 5. And the square root of 169 is 13. So always approach these really, if you don't know, approaching them as a factor tree like this is probably your best bet. It's going to be the easiest way to break these down. This one was actually pretty simple. Some of them you may have to go through several factor pairs. Okay. And then 37 says if f of -2 equals 16, which could be the equation for f of x? Well, all we are doing is substituting in -2 to see which one equals 16. Well, -2 minus 18 is going to be -16, so that's not it. 20 minus 2 times -2 is going to equal 24, so that's not it. 6 plus, or -6 plus 24 is going to be 18. That's not it. Well, already we know this is the answer, but continuing with our path here, 8 plus 8, 16, checks out. So in this one, all you're doing is, because remember f of x, well, we know f of x is -2, so you're just substituting this in. The more difficult approach is you can substitute in 16 for all of these and see which one has an x value of -2. So you could have substituted 16 in for your y values. That's going to require more work and more equation manipulation, so just do it this way. All right, the graph of the function f of x is shown below. We've got a nice parabola there. What is f of 1 minus f of 5? Well, where x is 1, what does y equal? 6. And where f is 5, what does y equal? -2. So what we have is 6 minus -2, which gives us 8. Remember, these represent y values. So the way that we do that is just find your x and figure out what the y value is there. Which of the following graphs appear to represent a function? Well, all that I want you to do here is think about the vertical line test. What is the vertical line test? It means that if I draw a vertical line, it doesn't pass through more than 1 point. Okay. Um, what happens here? Well, if I draw a vertical line here, I'm passing through 2 points. No matter how many vertical lines I draw here, I'm only passing through 1 point. If I draw vertical lines here, I'm passing through 2 points here and here. No matter how many I draw, no matter how small I make it, I'm going through 2 points. And same thing here. This one's a little trickier, but if you get to here, you have all of these points on this line for this vertical line. So this one doesn't work, but G does. Remember, a function has only 1 point, one output for every input. Okay. 45. All right, we've got a nice function here, and we're trying to figure out which one works. Okay. So first, what I want you to do is go ahead and FOIL this out. First, outer, inner, last. So we can see our vertex of our parabola. So we get x squared plus 5x plus 1x plus 5. Excellent. Now we need to find our vertex. And once we find our vertex, we'll know exactly where the parabola is on the graph, okay? Well, how do we do that? Okay, well, the simplest way when you're given this, and memorize these if you'd like, x is negative b divided by 2a, and y is our function of whatever we get for negative b over 2a. All right, so x equals negative b, which is going to be negative 6, divided by 2 times a, which is just 2 because that's a 1. So x equals negative 3. Now y equals negative 3 squared plus 6 times negative 3 plus 5. So y equals 9 minus 18 plus 5, which equals negative 4. So my vertex is negative 3, negative 4. Which one of these is at negative 3, negative 4? Well, one, we're dealing with a squared function, so automatically we rule these out. And these aren't slope intercept. It's not what we're doing here. Well, if we go 1, 2, 3, that's a positive 3. So we know that one's not it. To test this, 3, down 4, and 3, negative 4. And that is our parabola. So think about these functions here, okay, to solve for your vertex. Here it says the graph of p of x equals negative x squared minus 2x plus 8 is shown. Identify each solution when p of x equals 0. So where y is 0, what does x equal? Well, y is 0 here and here. What are those values? Negative 4 and 2. No math required. You're not solving anything. You're not doing anything. Could you have set this equal to 0 and factored it out? Yes, but you're given the graph, so don't do more work than you have to. And then our final problem that we're going to go over is negative x squared minus 2x plus 47. 47 is a prime number, so I'm going to use the quadratic formula. B squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Super helpful formula. The only way to solve this problem. Remember A, B, and C. So our B is negative 2. So this is actually going to be positive 2 plus or minus negative 2 squared. Two times negative 1. Okay. So you get x equals 2 plus or minus square root of 192 all over negative 2. Well, think about your factors here of 192. If I go, I know that it can be divided by 2 because it ends in 2. So 192 divided by 2 will be 96. Okay. This is going to be 48 and 2. We can go further down. 24 and 2. 6 and 4. 3, 2, 2, 2. All right, so how many pairs do I have? Well, I have 1, 2, 3. So 2 times 2 times 2 is going to be 8. And what does that leave? Square root of 3 all over negative 2. Well, then when we divide this out, you're going to get negative 1 plus or minus 4 square root of 3. And that concludes the series of Algebra 1 review videos. Algebra 1 covers a whole lot of concepts and prepares you for Algebra 2 and some basic geometry. So if there's something you didn't see here that you'd like to see, please let me know and I will get that video to you. Otherwise, I hope that this has been helpful and I'll talk to you soon.